Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Low Season Traveller Insider Guides. I'm Jed Brown, your host for this week's episode, and today we're heading over to India, where I've spent some time recently in Delhi, Jaipur, Udaipur, Jodhpur and Ranthambore to learn more about what the low season experience is like in the heat of the North Indian summer. Now, India has some incredible palatial hotels, and perhaps one of the most iconic of these is the stunning Taj Rambagh Palace Hotel in Jaipur. There's truly no bad time to experience the Rambagh Palace, and arguably the low season summer months are optimal due to the relaxed and quiet ambiance coupled with the significantly lower prices. Last week I met up with the general manager, Mr. Ashok Rathore, who kindly gave me a tour of the property and some of the amazing initiatives which they've been implementing recently to further enhance the guest experience. After our tour, Mr. Rathore sat down with me in the lavish Suvarna Mahal dining room so that I could learn more about this incredible property. Enjoy. Thank you so much for agreeing to record this podcast with us in this incredible property that we're in.
Thank you.
And you're very welcome to the Low Season Traveller Insider Guides podcast. First of all, we're in an incredible room here. First of all, before we even get into the hotel, tell us a little bit about this incredible space that we're in.
So, this Rambagh Palace, let me take you back some history and connect the dots. It started with 1835 property, and then it has evolved over the period of time. It used to be hunting lodge, and when the Maharajas, they were there in the city palace, and then they decided the kids for the further educations has to be away from the royal family, and they were shifted here.
Right.
So when the Maharajas grown up, and before he went for the higher educations to UK, which is called the Military Woolwich School. So he was residing here, went to London, and there he fallen with the beautiful lady, which is called late Rajmata, and then decided to get married. And while coming back, he thought he wanted to give something unique, like a Taj Mahal, to her, and this is how it was recreated and was gifted, and for the third lady to be here.
Wow.
So when you talk about Rambagh Palace in a very short and very nutshell, is a love, polo and romance.
Lovely.
Okay.
It's one of, well, it is. It's the most, it's fair to say it's the most iconic hotel in the whole of India, right?
Yes.
That's fair to say.
Not in India, but you can say that globally.
Globally.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for correcting me on that.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's like stepping back in time, because although of course it has the modern amenities that you would expect of a five-star hotel, much of the origins have been preserved. It feels like you are in India 150 years ago, 200 years ago.
So, this palace is where we have called the ISCL, and generally known for the Taj Group of Hotels.
Yes.
We were the pioneers to setting up a hospitality in the country. We have started the first hotel, Taj Mumbai, in 1903, and when thought that why not have the move beyond to Bombay, so first they came to Rajasthan, and this was been taken in 1972, and we almost completed about 50-year relationships with the owners. So idea was basically at least to showcase what India is truly all about it, because the people had different notions. I'm not saying now because of digital and with a lot more social media, the world is quite well aware, but it was difficult. How India is so rich in the culture, and most discerning people were coming to this part of the world And for them, it is just for the wow factors. Kind of ambience we have, the architecture we have. So it was what we have tried to develop it, of course, the owners also. They drawn the inspirations from the people, from culture, from culinary, for the food, religions, traditions. And this is how we weave around different experiences. And so if we can find the true is authentic Indian, top-end luxury experience, you can get it. The place we're sitting at, which is called the Suvarna Mahal, and this used to be a personal dining, or we can say the banquet hall for the royal family. Just behind me, you can see the long table. It used to be about for royal guests, for the Maharaja and Maharani, for the state guests. And we need to have that, everything used to be gold plated, 24 carat.
Wow.
And for each guest, there used to be a special butler.
Right.
And there used to be one brigade service. They used to become in one go, serve it, take it back, and move it. Now, when you're looking for the chandelier, which is called, it came from Murano. Okay. And when we started long back, that time there was no electricity in the country. So there used to be rope. They used to bring it down, put the candle, and put it back.
Wow.
So it was very nostalgic feeling altogether.
Yeah.
So Rambagh is all about, you can manufacture everything, but you can't manufacture the history.
Yeah.
And which is the essential part of the palace experiences. So you can be here and you can soak yourself. It's a very immersive experiences, and something we'll call timeless experience. It take you back to bygone era,
Yeah.
and you can still feel like kings and queens.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I mean, in a way, I suppose you are preserving the cultural heritage
Yeah.
of the bygone era by
Yeah.
continuing it on.
Right.
And of course, I should point out that not only is the whole palace is fabulous. This is one room, just for our listeners that are listening to this. This is just one room, which is incredible. There are many, many spaces that are as incredible, if not more incredible,
Right.
throughout the whole property. But also, I'm taken by even all of the staff that you have here, which are outrageously professional
Right.
and courteous. I mean, they really are another level.
Right.
But the way in which they're dressed as well. They
Right.
seem to be dressed in, I guess, is that the traditional
Yes.
way of old as well?
Right. So one of the things, like when we're talking about authentic Indian experiences, it comes from the local attire. The people used to wear it. Now still we see that people we have their turban, which you call the safa, and bangalas. So everything's, whether we have the for the female the saris, and that is also which is the local, which we call the bandej sari, which is very, very special. Block printing, it comes from the Rajasthan, and especially for the Jaipur. So everything has been designed to preserve what was there, and of course it caters to the modern descending traveler also.
I love that. How many rooms do you have? Because it's a huge, huge property. How many rooms are there?
So we have the total 78 altogether. When you look the total spread, which is about 48 acres, the 78 is a very small number.
Yeah.
But this is what makes the most luxurious the palace
Yes.
in the world also.
Absolutely.
You have a lush green gardens surrounding. We are blessed to have the flora and fauna. The beauty of the Rambagh is we have roughly about peacocks. I would not say, but some way we have counted close to about 200 peacocks. So it's a very hard to find it, middle of city, away from hustle bustle, and it's all about a different experience altogether.
I think you're right with the garden, and the gardens are absolutely beautiful and expansive and incredibly well kept. And I love the sound of the peacocks, by the way.
Right.
I love the sound of the peacocks.
Right.
It creates a real atmosphere. And
Right.
of course, you have water features roundabout as well, which always add to it. And what I love is you very kindly hosted us last night
Thank
to
you.
a wonderful evening, and I want to thank you for that. But everywhere at night time it changes its complexion a little bit, because you have candles and tea lights everywhere, and flowers. I mean, there are flowers throughout the
Right.
whole hotel as well.
Right.
How many flowers do you go through on a day?
It's, but when you're talking about the luxury, which is, fortunately we grow most of the flower alike. And this is our commitment for sustainability, for the ecosystem, because we also believe it in zero carbon, footprint, to reduce the carbon footprint. So that's, we grow. We also have the places called the botanist, which we have developed about few years back, 2 years back. The idea is that we realized it after COVID pandemic, the world is moved from indoor to outdoor.
Yep.
And I thought, why not to create something which can be very organic. So we have developed the concept, keeping it a farm to table concept. Partially is covered, partially is open. And the central point of that used to be a personal pool of Maharaja and Maharani. So that we have restored and kept it intact. It also got a beautiful amphitheaters where we do a lot of cocktail, the book reading, and the many other events which takes places.
Love that. I guess you must have had a number of famous people in the property over the years, because it's such a wonderful property. Are you allowed to share any details of any famous people that you've had as a guest?
The Jaipur royal family, they were very close to all the royal families globally, because their love for the polo, and they used to travel across the world. So Queen Elizabeth, she had a very close relationship with them. She stayed in the Rambagh.
Oh, really?
And been here many times.
Wow.
The last Viceroy, the Mountbatten, he stayed at the Rambagh. When talking about the President of the United States, Mr. and Mr. Kennedy have stayed here. So list is very long and exhaustive. The last one I remember, during my tenure, Mrs. Clinton, she was here.
Wow.
So we had many head of state, royalties, so been here, experienced.
They all want to come and experience the very best and step back in time.
Yeah.
And I suppose they want to experience as well, we should point out for listeners, although this was a hunting lodge originally,
Yes.
that's because roundabout it was jungle, right?
Absolutely.
It's not anymore, is it?
Yes.
It's the heart. Is
Yeah,
it fair to say that this is located in the heart of Jaipur?
Yes. So, but the best point is, being a Rambagh, there's nothing in close vicinity in terms of constructions. On the right-hand side, we have the polo ground, then we have the golf ground, and then we have largest central park. In front of that, we have the stadium. So, fortunately, there are no constructions, and you have the land which is about 300-acre lands. Give a lush green area and a complement. So even in the middle of city, when you lay down in the evening, you can actually see the stars. It's hard to see it nowadays.
It was wonderful last night. Actually, you could see the moon
Yeah.
just over the palace. It looked
Right.
fabulous. I couldn't capture it on
Yes.
my camera, unfortunately, but it was wonderful. I was going to ask then a little bit more about some of the other spaces that you have here. Obviously, we've got this room, which is the sort of the grand dining room, the gold room. You have is it the Polo Club bar? The Polo bar?
Yeah, so we have the polo bar.
Polo bar.
Okay. The specialty of the polo bar is, since the royal family was very fond about the polo, and it was a customary after every polo match, both the team, with the winning team or the participating team, to come and celebrate in a polo tie in the polo bar.
Nice.
So the Maharaj Man Singh II, he the one who first have won the World Cup, which is called the Coronation World Cup.
Okay.
And if you can see that alfresco, which is right here, that's a replica of the World Cup trophies, and the small one, so
Yes.
which we have in the polo bar. So it's draw the inspirations from the polo, and we have the polo bar. Then we have the Rajput room, which is the main our dining area, we can say. Then we are blessed to have the veranda cafe. You can sit for breakfast, for the lunch, for the high tea, and evening, I'm sure. And we have very special evening, which is we have the lighting of the lamps, followed by the folk dances. We get the musicians, they perform the classical. Okay, so it's a very, very nostalgic feeling altogether. And it changed the mood, okay, from the morning to afternoon and during the day.
It's distinctly different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you notice it. I certainly felt it last night, and then coming today during the daytime. But also wonderful. Do you mind me asking, what's your, if I'm allowed to ask, what's your favourite space in the hotel? Are you allowed to say that? What's your favourite, your own personal favourite space?
I would say my favorite is the architecture and the surrounding, which is the garden. So very close to my heart.
Yeah, I can see all that.
Because I have a love for the nature. I personally, and I enjoy doing it. The part of it, horticulture, when I would get a time also.
Yeah,
So
I can see that.
Yeah.
I will say this, and this for our viewers and listeners. I've seen, prior to my visit, this is my first visit to the Rambagh Palace, I'd seen photographs, I'd heard descriptions, I'd read articles. Honestly, nothing comes close to actually being here.
Right.
Because you feel it. You feel it in the sounds, you feel it in the music, you feel it in the smiles and the incredible hospitality of your team and your staff. You feel it with every sense, and I really mean that. I think it's an experience that I'll certainly remember for a long time, and I would absolutely encourage anybody, if they want to have a real experience in Jaipur, I think there's only one place they can come really, and that's to the Rambagh Palace.
So what makes the Rambagh is also very, very special is, in addition of the different dining, we also have the collection of the vintage car. And
really?
And that's been used. We offer to guests to take a ride of those vintage car, and that used to be the palace carriage, and that used to be personal collections of the Maharajas.
Oh wow!
So it's a very, very unique, which you do not find in any palace in the world. And being a resident of the palace, you actually can feel it.
Yeah.
We also have the royal carriage ride, which takes around to the palaces, because it's a very well spread. So that also been given. We do a lot of royal welcomes, and that include the horses. It has the vintage car. It have royal carriages. We have the performers, the folk dancers. So it's like the complete caravan which is coming all together, and starting from the main gate, and which is almost about long, about a kilometer or half a kilometer. That's the spread we have it. So when you're coming to Rambagh, is very, very special for you to feel it.
I can see that as well.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much once again for your incredible hospitality. I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us for this particular podcast. And I'm definitely looking forward to coming back again, hopefully in the not too distant future. But
so we look forward. I think now we've been offering it because now because of flight connectivity and better infrastructure, you can travel around the year, and it is not what you call the seasonal, but you can move around. And I also will take your viewers that is a peak season, which is normally our winter is the peak seasons.
Yes.
But we also, they can come and experience during the summer and also in monsoon. Reason is not because of pricing, but affordability.
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be nice to people who have dreams to come and stay at the Rambagh and experience the same. Okay, I will not say, but that's something called more affordable to experience the same royalty.
Yes.
And which is making possible now, which wasn't there earlier also.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're most welcome.
And of course, us being low season traveller, we're all about the low season, so we love that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed
Most
for your
welcome.
time.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you have it. And you can learn more about this fabulous property by visiting www.tajhotels.com. I can say with all honesty that this hotel is one of the very finest I've ever been in, and you can only truly feel the experience by visiting it for yourself. Next week, we head over to Delhi to stay in one of the most iconic properties in the city as we meet the general manager of the famous Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, which has recently undergone an astonishing makeover. But that's our show for this week. Thanks as always for your company, and if you enjoyed the podcast, please do leave us a positive rating and review on your podcast app, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn to be the first to hear our latest low season stories, articles and guides. Have a great week wherever you are, and remember that travel is always better and fairer for the planet, the local communities and you the travellers, when it's without the crowds.